What's up, everyone? Today, we're breaking down the storyline of Ip Man 4, the finale, released in 2019. This movie wraps up the legendary story of the Wing Chun Grandmaster, showing how he deals with intense discrimination in the US and tries to secure a future for his son. The movie opens up in Hong Kong, 1964. We see Ip Man sitting in a doctor's office, and the news isn't good. He's diagnosed with head and neck cancer. The doctor strongly suggests he start chemotherapy right away, but Ip Man just stays quiet. He absorbs the heavy news without a word. Meanwhile, at Ip Man's Wing Chun Academy, a black American guy named Billy shows up. He's super excited to see a picture of Ip Man on the wall. But because of the language barrier, the students think he's causing trouble and try to kick him out. A fight almost breaks out. Just as Billy is about to launch a kick, Ip Man casually steps in and blocks it. Instead of getting mad, Billy is thrilled. He hugs Ip Man and introduces himself as a student of Bruce Lee. Billy hands Ip Man an invitation. Bruce Lee is competing in a karate tournament in San Francisco, and he's included a flight ticket and a book Bruce wrote about kung fu in English. Ip Man politely declines, saying he doesn't have much time left. Back at Ip Ching's school, the kid is getting into fights and just beat up a classmate. The headmaster calls Ip Man in and gives him the bad news. The headmaster expels Ip Ching and suggests that maybe sending him to study abroad in the US would do him some good. Ip Man goes home and sits down to talk with his friend Fatso, asking him to watch the boy while he goes to America to find a school. But Ip Ching overhears. He explodes, yelling that he doesn't want to go to school or America, he just wants to learn martial arts like his dad. Unable to hold back his temper, Ip Man slaps his son. The tension is incredibly high, and Ip Man leaves for the US with things completely unresolved. When he lands, a man named Khan picks him up and takes him straight to the Chinese Benevolent Association, a local group that helps Chinese immigrants with paperwork. Ip Man is there to sort out the transfer documents for Ip Ching's school enrollment in the US. Several Chinese kung fu masters greet him there, but before he can even explain why he's come, the head of the association, Master Wan, demands that Ip Man publicly denounce Bruce Lee. This is because Bruce Lee has been teaching kung fu to non-Chinese students and even wrote an English-language kung fu book. Master Wan worries that one day, foreigners could use kung fu against the Chinese. The conversation turns tense, and the two masters end up in a small scuffle that smashes a glass tea table to pieces. Ip Man excuses himself and leaves without getting the transfer papers sorted. Back at his lodging, he tries calling home, but Ip Ching still won't pick up, and so Fatso answers instead. In his house, we see Master Wan training his daughter, Yona, in kung fu. She seems not to be interested in it at all because her real passion is cheerleading. The next morning, Ken takes Ip Man to see a contact who might help speed up the transfer papers, but the man refuses to help, and they head back disappointed. Since he's in town, Ip Man decides to check out Bruce Lee's karate tournament. Bruce is incredibly fast. He shows off his legendary kicks and the devastating one-inch punch. During the event, Bruce spots his master in the crowd and is really happy. Later that night, while Bruce and Ip Man are chatting at a restaurant, he introduces Ip Man to his student, Hartman, who is a staff sergeant in the US Marines. While they are talking, some local karate fighters show up to challenge Bruce. Bruce tells Ip Man to stay inside and enjoy his tea. They step into a back alley, and Bruce takes them all down, using his nunchucks and signature Jeet Kune Do moves, proving he's on a completely different level. The next day, Ip Man visits an elite high school trying to get his son enrolled. The principal tells him he either needs that recommendation letter from the CBA or he has to pay a $10,000 donation. While Ip Man is leaving the school, he stumbles across some awful bullying. A Chinese girl is being held against a fence by a group of kids, and a girl named Becky is cutting her hair. It turns out the victim is Yona, Master Wan's daughter. Yona recently beat out Becky for the head cheerleader spot, and Becky, driven by racism and jealousy, brought her boyfriend's gang to attack her. Yona fights back, pushing Becky into a fence, accidentally scratching her own face in the process. As the fence gate is about to slam shut on Yona, Ip Man pushes her out of the way just in time, but his own arm gets caught instead. He effortlessly dismantles the teenage group without seriously hurting them. He then takes Yona home on the bus and the two end up talking about his struggles with the transfer paperwork. Yona offers to help him get the permit. Meanwhile, Becky runs home crying to her mother, who calls her husband Walter, who, as it turns out, works for US Immigration. When they get to the CBA, Yona tries to convince her dad, Master Wan, to write the letter for Ip Man. Master Wan sees his daughter's bruised face and, thinking IP Man used her to get the letter, challenges him to a fight. The fight is incredibly balanced, but it's suddenly interrupted by an earthquake. IP Man leaves, stating he only brought Yona home to keep her safe, not to beg for a favor. Over at the Marine base, the cadets are training in karate when Hartman brings out his wooden training dummy, the Mukjong. His superior, Sergeant Barton, orders him to throw it out, calling it nothing more than a museum piece. Hartman refuses, so Barton sets up a deal. If Hartman can beat the camp's top karate fighter, Colin, kung fu training gets added to the official curriculum. Hartman ends up losing the fight, and his wooden dummy gets burned as a result. Meanwhile, Yona brings IP Man a permit, but he immediately realizes it's fake and tears it apart. Instead, she invites him to the upcoming Chinese New Year festival, and he agrees to come. Back at the Marine headquarters, the commander watches a kung fu demonstration and gets fascinated by it. He orders Barton to start learning it himself and sends Hartman to the Chinese festival to study the culture further. Annoyed, Barton tells Colin about it, and Colin decides to crash the festival to prove karate is the superior style. The festival night arrives, and Hartman shows up to film the celebration. Yona invites IP Man to sit up front and watch, but he tells her to focus on her own performance instead. He'll be watching either way. Meanwhile, away from the festival, Master Wan is arrested by Walter on accusations of forging immigration documents. Back at the festival, Colin shows up uninvited and starts provoking the local kung fu masters into fighting him one by one, beating each of them down. Just as he's about to strike a female master, IP Man steps in and kicks him away, setting off a fierce one-on-one battle between them. IP Man eventually overpowers Colin, and the Chinatown crowd erupts and cheers for him, but the celebration gets cut short when Yona's uncle rushes in to tell her about her father's arrest. They hurry off toward the immigration office. At the immigration office, Walter accuses Master Wan of forging documents for illegal immigrants. Wan denies it, but Walter, driven by his own grudge, still sends men to raid the association. Elsewhere, Barton visits the badly beaten Colin and grows even more furious, deciding to head straight to the Benevolent Association himself. On their way there, IP Man and Yona run into Billy, who warns them to stay away because immigration officers are already heading there to make arrests. Yona's uncle calls the association to warn them to get out, but Barton gets there first. He beats up the people inside, demanding to know where Master Wan is. Once they tell him, he heads straight to the immigration office. When IP Man and the others arrive at the association, Barton is already gone, and tells them to clear out before immigration shows up. Meanwhile, at the immigration office, Barton convinces Walter to let him take Master Wan back to the Marine base, supposedly to settle things between them privately. Back at the base, Barton wakes up every cadet to watch the fight, and what follows is a brutal, one-sided beating. Master Wan ends up badly injured, defeated completely by Barton's brute strength. Meanwhile, IP Man brings the injured association members to Bruce Lee's gym to get treated. While there, they finally apologize to Bruce Lee for judging him so harshly before. At the base, Hartman calls Bruce Lee with the news about Master Wan's condition after the fight with Barton. IP Man hurries to the hospital. While there, he calls home once more, and as always, Fatso answers instead of IP Ching. This time, IP Man finally tells Fatso about his cancer diagnosis. Hearing this, Fatso forces IP Ching to come to the phone. IP Man apologizes to his son for slapping him and promises that once he's done with his business in America, he'll personally teach him Wing Chun. After the call, IP Man asks Hartman to take him to confront Barton directly. Yona tries to stop him, worried about his safety, but IP Man tells her that fighting against injustice is the whole point of martial arts, and goes anyway. The next morning, Hartman drives him to the Marine base to face Barton. Already weakened by his cancer, IP Man struggles early in the fight, and Barton manages to knock him down. But IP Man gets back up and fights back hard, eventually landing a finishing strike on Barton's neck and taking him down for good. The cadets watching break into applause for IP Man's win. Afterward, at the Benevolent Association, Master Wan personally hands IP Man his permit, thanking him for everything. IP Man accepts it gladly and says his goodbyes before heading home to Hong Kong. Back home, IP Ching asks his father to teach him Wing Chun. IP Man agrees, but tells him he'll only demonstrate the form once, so IP Ching should record it on camera. At the end of the shot, we see Bruce Lee attending his master's funeral, paying his final respects to the legendary Wing Chun Grandmaster, IP Man.